Remember the good old days when some of the best TV shows ever created would come back every year with a new season? When I was growing up, X-Files was a cultural phenomenon. Every September, new series. 20 episodes. Yes, 20 episodes. Mad cliffhanger finale in March, back again in September to keep the story going. Between August 2005 and May 2010, we had 6 seasons and 121 episodes of Lost. Arguably one of the greatest TV shows ever made. Sopranos ran like clockwork. Season 1, 1999, 13 episodes. Season 2, 2000, 13 episodes. Season 3, 2001, 13 episodes. But now, something has changed. TV is slow, and it seems to be getting slower. And now it might have got to the point that things are so slow that those water cooler shows and cultural moments that cliche-riddled execs like to talk about may actually be gone forever. But how did this happen? Are we getting more episodes per season instead? Maybe the shows in 2024 are so much better quality than their 2000 counterparts, that's why they take so long to make. Well, let's take a closer look at what is happening now versus what was happening before, and make sure that I am not looking at things through my rose-tinted millennial glasses. Our first example is Stranger Things from Netflix. Season 1 arrived in 2016 and genuinely felt like a show lots of people were talking about. Okay, it was only 8 episodes, but it felt epic and cinematic. Then the following year in 2017, Season 2, 9 episodes. It felt like quite a big gap because of the low number of episodes in each season, but okay, I can live with that. But then things changed. In 2018, no Stranger Things. We had to wait till 2019 for the next 8 episode series. At this point, I had started to forget the story, to be honest, but kind of forced myself into getting back into it. Quality-wise, I wish I hadn't bothered, to be honest, but we'll go on to that. Then we had the pandemic, of course, which did affect production in all genres of TV, including my own day job. So I understand some delays. But a 3-year gap between season 3 and 4? Come on, man. Anyway, in 2022 we got 9, much improved I should add, episodes of Stranger Things. Then they did it again. No series in 2023. None in 2024. Season 5 is due for release in 2025, and according to IMDb will be 8 episodes. The cast are gonna start like Goonies and end up like Grease at this rate. So to summarise, it will take Netflix 9 years to make 5 seasons of Stranger Things, with a total of 42 episodes. So to first of all address the water cooler cultural moment stuff I mentioned earlier. When Stranger Things released, me and my friends all talked about it. We loved it. I recommended the show to everyone in our office of like 20-30 people. We'd talk about the characters, the soundtrack, the fashion, the way it was made. I even bought the soundtrack on vinyl. When season 2 was released, we would all promise not to spoil it for each other until we'd all seen it. And then we would, quote, discuss season 2 when everyone had binged. But then the gaps got bigger between series. We moved on. No one talked about the show anymore. When season 3 came around, it was more of a feeling of, yeah, Stranger Things, forgot about that, used to be good, didn't it? Then when season 4 arrived, I didn't even hit play for a while. The gap was too long for me to care. Season 3 generally sucked, but eventually I succumbed and put season 4 on in the background. But hey, they saved it, it was good again, the vibe was back. I started telling people to rewatch it. Then alas, all the buzz and momentum dies again as we have to wait 3 years. 3 years for the last 8 episodes. It's just too long to keep the excitement going. Now, I know some of the people involved with the show might point to the various strikes that have happened with the actors and writers. I get that. But there were actors and writer strikes that shows like Lost, X-Files and Sopranos had to deal with too. So this isn't a unique situation. There is another example I want to look at. One that actually blew my mind when doing research for this video. And that, my friends, is Lord of the Rings. Now, if my Stranger Things beef was about volume and speed, one might assume that taking longer to make these shows means that they are way better than their 2000 counterparts, right? Well, now I want to compare the most expensive TV show ever made with 3 of the best films ever made. I know that might seem like comparing apples and oranges, but hear me out. In my opinion, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films are perfect. I don't use that word lightly, but they just are. Epic, beautiful, powerful, legendary. The best film trilogy ever. Now, I must caveat this by saying that production and planning for the entire trilogy was not done on a on-the-fly or film-by-film basis. Planning and preparation for the whole trilogy was done before the first film was released. But this also gives us a hint at one of the possible solutions to what is going on in TV at the moment. But we will come back to that. Anyway, from a pure audience point of view, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring was released in 2001. The Two Towers released 2002. And the third and final installment, The Return of the King, you guessed it, 2003. 3 years, 3 of the greatest films of all time. Let's contrast that with Rings of Power, a billion, with a B, dollar TV show. Similarly to the films, there are a lot of preparation that went into the series. Just like the films, and unlike some other TV shows, the people making the show knew they were creating more than one season, so could plan accordingly. Locations, sets, costumes, research, scripts, casting, special effects, marketing, giant tax breaks from the New Zealand government, all had time to be done properly, just like with the films. In fairness to the show, we must say that they also had the pandemic to navigate on season 1, which would for sure have caused big problems with the production planning. Anyway, season 1 of The Rings of Power, containing 8 episodes, was released September 2022. Let's just say that the audience reaction wasn't quite as positive as the Peter Jackson trilogy. Then, 2023, no Rings of Power. Season 2 is due to be released exactly 2 years after Season 1 in 2024. Again, 8 episodes. Now, the first comparison I made in this video on Stranger Things was to give an example of quantity. It takes Netflix far longer to make a short series of Stranger Things than it would to make a much longer season of Lost. The Lord of the Rings comparison is about quality. In the original trilogy, we got 3 of the best films of all time in 3 years. In The Rings of Power, we have something that doesn't even come close to the same quality, costing far more. Yes, even if the budgets are adjusted for inflation. And it has nowhere near the cultural impact or legacy. One is genius cinematic work. The other is cheap-looking streaming sludge. Now, these are just a couple of examples to illustrate a point, but believe me, there are countless other series I could pick out. All of Us Are Dead, a fantastic zombie show on Netflix. Season 1 dropped at the start of 2022. Now, as we approach the end of 2024, no sign of Season 2. I'm going to need to watch yet another YouTube refresher video for that before diving back in next year. Invincible on Amazon. I enjoyed season 1 in 2021. Then a gap of 2 years to get half a season. The second half of season 2 dropped in 2024. I haven't even pressed play on season 2, the buzz is just gone. Even in my own professional area of expertise, documentaries, honestly it's the same thing. So why is all this happening? Now there are a multitude of reasons why streamers have gone down this path, but one of the main ones is the almighty data. Forget story, forget the artists that create those beloved shows, forget allowing word of mouth to create buzz. Show me the first week analytics. Many shows won't be commissioned for a new season until the data is analysed for the previous season. Instant hit or bin it. Data shows us lots of people like the big explosion in episode 2, put one in the first 30 seconds of episode 1 of the new season. People got bored by episode 9. Make the next season 6 episodes. What do you mean story, character development? 6 is the optimum number, the data says. Actually, we're sorry, data now shows that another show people like is 10 episodes over here. Can you chop your show into 10 and give us 10 intense cliffhanger endings? By the way, I'm not making these things up. I've heard these exact examples directly from writers and directors in the industry. Then of course we have the age-old problem of death by committee, which seems particularly intense at the moment. Everyone has an opinion on what should be in or removed from a show. But at this point there are so many execs, so many departments interfering, that I'm not surprised things get bogged down in the writer's room or later in the edit. It's a wonder certain shows or series ever get released when 50 people have to agree on a line of dialogue. There is also fear, a fear of failure. This fear is so overwhelming that quite often copying something else successful or relying on a named talent is more important than creating something special. This means blame can be softened or put elsewhere if a show doesn't work by saying, well, it worked for this other project, so that's why we did it. How boring and anti-creativity. There's also a related problem which really slows things down and creates an environment of risk-averse middle management, and that is cost. Everything now is so expensive, and I'm telling you for a fact it doesn't need to be. The more expensive a show or film is, creates more pressure and leads to more examples of playing it safe, which again makes things more boring and yes, slow. I recently had eyes on a budget for a new show coming to a big streamer next year. I could not believe what they were paying for some of the line items. The on-screen talent overpaid. The writers, too many. The execs, way too many. The digital work and effects. Honestly, you could literally build every set in real life for less. So much money is wasted. Then the pressure is ramped up that every show must be a smash hit within 4 weeks or it isn't worth doing again. What a mad business model. You can see Hollywood and theatrical releases are the same. Bad films are somehow costing 300 million and need to do 750 million box office just to break even. Again, madness. So okay, we know there are problems here, but what might be some of the potential solutions? Well, first of all, have faith. If you believe in a show, really believe in it. If the story is 3 seasons, plan for that. Lock in the cast and the crew and make a production plan for 3 seasons in 3 years. Not only will you improve the quality and buzz around the show, but you will inevitably make cost savings from being able to commit to plans and talent for longer than 6 months at a time. Some shows take a while to find their groove and then can become legendary. Look at The Wire, one of the best shows ever. Season 1 audience numbers were not that great. Look at how that turned out by the end of its 5-season run. Another thing to be considered is the budgets being assigned to some of these shows. They are insane. Push the producers harder on making the episodes at the right money. If you're producing something yourself, have discipline. Try to get as much of the budget on screen as possible and stop answering every problem with a "we'll fix it in post" or "we'll do reshoots." These kind of cop-outs are expensive and take ages, which adds to the time per season. Plan better and make sure the script and the production plan is tight before shooting. One small thing and one little solution I've discovered that I really want and might actually help some viewers, especially those with bad memories like me, is to add a recap option to the streaming menu. A couple of weeks before a new season launches, offer your audience a 30-minute recap of the previous season before starting the new one. I definitely use that feature a lot. Now okay, I know some of these solutions are big and require a shift in mentality, but some are small wins that could help immediately. But what I would say overall, let's up the game. Making shows as good as in the 2000s is possible, but it takes talent and it takes commitment, which are clearly lacking from some of the streamers and some projects. I know for a fact that the talent and ambition is out there, but the new shot callers, which are the streamers, need to look outside of the usual suspects and demand more. There is a chance for a new golden era of TV and episodic shows here, and now is the time to give the industry a shot in the arm instead of 8 episodes every blue moon.